Today, a Russian fighter collided with a U.S. Reaper drone over international waters west of Crimea, causing the drone to crash into the Black Sea. The U.S. European Command called the incident an unsafe and unprofessional intercept, stating that the Russian pilots attempted to disrupt the U.S. aircraft before the collision. The U.S. State Department summoned the Russian ambassador over the incident, and the White House confirmed that the drone's downing would be raised directly with Russian officials. The Russian Defense Ministry denied any use of airborne weapons and maintained that their fighters did not come into contact with the U.S. drone. Meanwhile, Ukraine's president and military leaders have agreed to defend the besieged city of Bakhmut, which they deem of paramount strategic importance. However, shelling in Kramatorsk resulted in at least 1 death and 3 injuries. The Russian-installed acting governor of the occupied Zaporizhzhia region claimed that Russian forces were strengthening their positions in anticipation of an attack, while Poland's prime minister pledged to supply Ukraine with MiG fighter jets. The UK's Ministry of Defence reported that Russian artillery ammunition shortages were likely worsening, leading to punitive shell rationing in many parts of the front and inhibiting operationally significant offensive action. Moscow announced that it does not recognize the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court in The Hague, following reports that the court plans to seek arrest warrants against Russian individuals responsible for war crimes in Ukraine. Ukraine's foreign minister stated that 32 countries have joined a coalition supporting the creation of a special tribunal against Russia for the crime of aggression against Ukraine. In other news, Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis, top Republicans in polling for the 2024 presidential nomination, stated that defending Ukraine is not a vital U.S. interest, potentially discouraging Kiev and emboldening Vladimir Putin. Lithuania's parliament designated Russia's Wagner mercenary group as a terrorist organization for its systematic, serious crimes of aggression in Ukraine. Sweden's prime minister suggested that Finland may join the NATO military alliance before Sweden, despite Turkey's objections to Sweden's accession. The situation in Ukraine remains tense, with ongoing military clashes and diplomatic tensions between Russia and Western countries. The recent collision between a Russian fighter and a U.S. drone has only added to the already high levels of tension. The U.S. has condemned the incident, calling it an unsafe and unprofessional intercept by the Russian pilots. The U.S. State Department has summoned Russia's ambassador over the incident, and the White House has said that the drone's downing will be raised directly with Russian officials. Russia, however, has denied any wrongdoing, stating that its fighters did not come into contact with the U.S. drone. The Russian Defense Ministry said that its fighters were simply trying to identify the drone, which it claimed was heading towards the Russian border. Meanwhile, President Zelensky and his military chiefs have vowed to defend the besieged city of Bakhmut, which they say is of paramount strategic importance. The Ukrainian president has condemned the recent shelling of Kramatorsk, which left 1 person dead and several others injured. Poland has pledged to supply Ukraine with MiG fighter jets, which could further escalate tensions between Russia and its western neighbors. The UK's Ministry of Defence has also reported that Russian artillery ammunition shortages are leading to shell rationing on many parts of the front, which could be hindering Russian offensive capabilities. The International Criminal Court in The Hague is reportedly seeking its first arrest warrants against Russian individuals over the war in Ukraine, further exacerbating diplomatic tensions between Russia and Western countries. Ukraine has also garnered support for the creation of a special tribunal against Russia for the crime of aggression against Ukraine. The situation in Ukraine is complex and ongoing, with diplomatic and military tensions continuing to escalate. The decisions and actions of both Russian and Western officials will continue to shape the situation in the region in the coming weeks and months.